Things happen.
We love PDFs because it's easier to zoom.
We get started here tonight.
I don't know, I like those.
Welcome to the June 20th meeting of the Town of Standish Planning Board. The meeting will now come to order. It's a public proceeding, and unless the board specifically votes to go into executive session, you have the right to hear everything that is being said and to look at the exhibits that are offered. Please notify me if you are unable to hear or see the material. The board works from a prepared agenda, and this evening we have the approval of the May 5th minutes. We have 3 finding of facts for 3 gravel pit renewals, one for Shaw Earthworks at 3033 Pequawket Trail, one for Gorham Sand and Gravel at 186 Fort Hill Road, and one for Wash LLC, which is operated by Gorham Sand and Gravel at 67 Chadbourne Road. There are no items of old business, and we have 2 items of new business. We have the, is it Foss shoreland application at 63 Smooth Ledge Road, and we have the Martino at 29 Watchet Crossroad. And I don't believe we have any additional items on the agenda. The applicant has the burden to prove to the board that their application is complete and meets all applicable town standards. Any person wishing to address the board may do so in accordance with the following procedures. Please utilize the podium or one of the provided microphones. The board will open the public hearing for the applicant to present their project. Then the town planner will provide his assessment of the project and hear responses from the applicant, followed by board members, which will then ask questions and hear responses. The hearing will be open to the public for comment, and the applicant can respond to those comments. Next, the board may receive any oral or documentary evidence, but such evidence is restricted to the subject matter of the agenda item. The board shall exclude irrelevant, immaterial, or unduly repetitious evidence. Citizens shall refrain from interrupting the other speakers. This meeting is being tape recorded and it is very difficult to hear what is being said when multiple people speak at the same time. Citizens shall avoid personal attacks and conduct themselves in a civil, courteous manner as expected by all participants. And all questions should be addressed through the chair. Speakers shall not attempt to engage in debate with other meeting participants. Upon hearing from the public, the hearing will be closed for the application and the board will deliberate and vote on the application. Following the decision on the application, either towards the end of the meeting or at the board's next regular meeting, the board will prepare written finding of facts and approve them for the records. This evening, the only member of the board that's not here is Deb Boxer, and I'd like to take this opportunity to thank her for her service. She's not able to make tonight's meeting, but she did send out an email earlier today expressing her thanks for working with the board, and she's done a lot. And we will have a new member, possibly 2, including myself, at the next meeting, depending on how the election goes. First item of business will be the minutes of the May 5th meeting, and we have a new forum for that, or a new layout of it. As I understand it, we have an app that now goes through the ordinance and picks out the elements, and I thought it was pretty well done myself.
Yeah.
Open it up for board members.
It's so good, Jackie doesn't even have to be here.
I see. Well, you've been replaced with a flag.
Yeah, it's a veteran's plaque, so.
Yes.
Mr. Chair, I make a motion to accept the minutes as presented.
Been moved. Is there a second? I'll second it. Seconded by Frank. Any further discussion by board? Seeing none, all those in favor? Opposed?
I'm abstaining, I was not at the meeting.
And one is abstaining. So Carolyn is abstaining, and the remainder of the board
watched it,
Voted in
but I
affirmative.
missed things.
And the next order of business we have is the finding of facts for the 3 gravel pits. Wish to take them individually or approve them all? There's no, I don't have an issue either way.
I'd like to make a motion that you combine them and do them all at once.
I'll second that motion.
Was that to include the finding of facts?
The 3 finding of,
Yeah,
Yes.
3 finding of facts,
Okay.
yeah.
yes.
Seconded by Todd. Discussion by board members? Seeing none, all those in favor? 5 affirmative, and Carolyn abstaining.
Yes,
All right,
thank you.
thank you. Give me just a second, well, I can sign these afterwards. Sign these afterwards, all right. Moving along, new items of business here. Put my stuff together. Jay and Donna Foss, 63 Smooth Ledge Road, map 43, lot 86, shoreland zoning application to rebuild a single-family residence. We did have a site walk there earlier this evening. Okay, make the presentation, walk us through it.
Yes, sir. My name is Joe Williams. I'm with Lakeside Construction, here to represent the Foss family on this project. As seen on the wonderful picture here, there was a structure that was removed that was in danger of falling into the lake due to shoreline erosion and damage. That had been removed, and we're proposing to build a new single-family structure, move back to the greatest extent possible on that lot. Our mitigating factors in moving back are the location for a septic system.
No fence,
Yeah, that's May of last year.
yeah.
And it looked new when we were out there. Looked like fresh wood.
Yeah.
Just saying, that, Google Earth wins.
And when we were out there, the shoreline had been stabilized. You had
Correct, yes.
a permit for that?
We worked with DEP to get a permit by rule to stabilize and reconstruct the riprap wall that was in pretty rough shape there.
And there is an existing septic system there, but you're proposing to put a new one in because there's an unknown.
Correct. There is an existing septic. We had nothing on record of what that septic consists of, so we chose to have a new design done that would meet the current regulations required.
And the land that goes with the lot on the opposite side of the road is all water table at or near the surface, so can't be used.
Appears to be pretty much wetland, what's available across the street due to the proximity of the wetland on the west side of that?
Probably west, southwest, something like that.
About that direction?
Scott, like to add anything to this?
No, it's pretty straightforward. I think I covered it all in the memo. We've got everything that I think we need to go through this. All the numbers check out, and I think we're in good shape. We're pulling it back about 25 feet. So,
Did you have a site plan to put up, an existing condition survey?
yeah, I do have the existing additions. I don't have the site plan digital.
The plan we had, we couldn't, because it was on an 8.5 by 11, we couldn't really read it very good.
Oh, the proposed plot plan?
Yeah,
The existing conditions survey.
Existing
The
condition.
proposed one is pretty readable.
So with the proposed, as you see, the current house overhung the water line there. The closest point of the proposed structure will be from the structure itself, approximately 40 feet, so then 32 feet from the edge of the deck is what we're moving back to from the high water mark.
none of the new structure will be within the 0 to 25 foot off the shore.
Correct.
And we discussed it on site. I can't remember which note it is, but one of the notes indicates that it's based on 88 datum, which I think the lake datum was 260, 669 based on 29 datum. And I think that's slightly a higher number for the 88 datum. You said there was a benchmark near the road?
There is in the, on the adjoining property line to the structure that showed there close to the property line, there's a telephone pole out near the road, and there's a benchmark set, and in the notes on the right there, you can see it referenced, forgive me, I think it's 269 point something.
6.
I don't know if you have the ability to pull it off. from that.
269.26
Oh, sorry, there you go.
in 88.
Right. So I just don't want people to get mixed up with the floodplain elevation. Where I'm going with this, the finished floor of the building should be 1 foot above that magic
Correct.
1 foot elevation, so.
Yes. And typically with a level lot, we can get away with a foot of foundation is what we planned on for our elevation. So if we have a foot of elevation exposed, and then we're looking at between floor systems, and we should be above that. But we can reference and shoot off from that elevation point to ensure it when we're pouring.
Todd?
The only question we had, sorry, when we were doing the site walk, the trees, they're, you know, in a sense, because there's a good possibility, but due to the root structure on the pines at the back where the septic system is, that you're going to lose the 1 or 2 of the trees on, you know, on the fence side, the one that's already dead. To Mr. Brown's point, there's already one that's, you know, literally dead already. As far as vegetation, you know, regrowth, that's something that would not be in this, but, you know, that is something that you have planned or we discussed when we were doing the site walk.
Yes, absolutely. So we typically work with the code officer to revegetate the entirety of everything disturbed on the soils, and then, if required, by removal of trees, replanting of some trees that meet the minimum requirement per the point system that's allocated based on the circumference of or the diameter of the existing tree.
It's just my concern based on the current setup, the pine trees, which are indicated on the plan, most of their root structure goes into the old septic system. So when you start tearing up that old septic system to put a new one in, you could have some serious tree loss there.
Yeah, and typically dependent on the soil, and as we excavate, we will have JP come out, or the municipal officer come out and take a look and make an assessment at that time. If he deems it's not safe, because, you know, depending on what that existing system is if it's a concrete chamber, it might be very minimal, but if it's an old stone bed or something, then yeah, you could be very correct that it's gonna damage a significant amount of that root system.
JP, he must have been out there when they did the tear down, looked at all.
Correct.
Yeah. And I did put in a suggested condition that the board require that a replanting plan be approved for the removal of any significant trees prior to the issuance of a building permit.
Sorry, I didn't see point number 3. Thanks, Scott.
All set, Scott?
Yeah,
Any
I'm
other
all
board
set.
members, questions, thoughts?
Nope.
I don't have any
That was
questions.
my only concern. Sorry, I just, you know.
How's that work? JP goes out and looks at the tree and say, yes, that should come down?
I mean, something that's already dead or rotted as some of the trees we saw today, yeah. If it's in different shape, then it's gonna depend on, does construction require it to be removed, or get an arborist out there to say that it's the health of the trees in danger.
And evidently, any of along the road, I'm not an arborist, but didn't appear to have any health issues, so
Yeah, so that would be,
it would, again, be
So you
dependent.
dig up the roots, and then there may be a different situation.
Mm-hmm.
like, those trees are gonna depend more on site conditions as you do construction, so that's gonna be an ongoing conversation. But the ones closer to the house that we can tell are gonna have to come out as part of the project, we're gonna deal with those prior to the issuance of a building permit.
Smooth Ledge Road is just an easement, not a town road,
It's not a town road.
because the lots appear to go right straight through all those.
Yeah,
They do.
I believe it is, but I haven't done the deed research on it to know 100%.
Yeah, it doesn't indicate it in the deed. I looked at it quickly.
I believe it's
An easement?
easement that is taken care of by the town.
Yeah, I mean, the
Winter
survey
farm.
that you have just has a note that says that there is a benefits from a right-of-way width and location unknown. So there's a good chance that the language at some point somewhere is such that there is a right to cross, but not an established location. A lot of these things are old enough that the language is not as specific as we would require these days.
Oh, yeah, it's pretty bland and lots 34 and 33. Also a garage lot. 64 is shown on the plan. That would be a floatable garage on the other side of the road. Maybe.
There's nothing there now, right, on the other side of the road?
No, ma'am.
Right.
Not on this current property, no.
Right.
Erosion control, at least right now, is all in place. It's erosion control berm along the water, top of the riprap shoreline that we saw during the site walk.
Yeah, that was installed last year. Or Yeah, December.
Let's see if I had anything else. So relative to the greatest extent back, we've got an existing septic system, which is gonna end up being replaced by by a new one, unless it's concrete chambers, and then it might be salvageable.
I don't think we have any plan whatsoever. We're gonna, I think the
Elgins.
footprint with our Elgin is a reduced footprint, which allows us to get back to the greatest extent. So our plan is, regardless of what's found, is to install the Elgin system.
And then you're gonna maintain that 15-foot setback, which gives you the offset from the frost wall to the tank and then the bed.
Correct.
And the tank will have an interior pump or an exterior pump.
It will, yes, it will
The interior
very
one.
much be a pump system.
And the intent is to be 40 feet back to the face of the proposed structure from the mean high water of Sebago. And you said the deck was, what, 10 feet or 8 feet on the front?
Deck is 8 feet in front, so it would give us, what, 32 feet? Public school math, you gotta bear with me.
So we went from an overhang into the water to 30,
Yeah, from zero basically to something.
and 0 to 25 foot. That's a pretty good move. The driveway doesn't change, it's basically right where my truck was parked.
Correct.
All right. I'm all set right now. Shall we open it up to the public, get their input? Would anybody from the public like to speak?
Anthony Folsom. So the building's gonna be built back the same way it is now? Is that what we're looking at? That setback there is gonna go back further, or is that,
Gonna move,
That building there, you see, is overhanging the water by about 6 feet.
yeah?
So now
Gone.
it's gonna be 32 feet from the water to the face
So
of
we're
the
gonna
building.
build the new house, the new cabin the same way, or not twisted or nothing?
Basically, yes. You put up the site plan, Scott?
I don't have it digitally, so, but I can pull
Would
it.
you like to see it, Tony? Let's see what it is, right here.
Okay, so the septic is just that much
I
closer?
mean, you can just see the paper copy.
Straight where existing on is.
Okay, okay, so that's kinda what I was
Got
concerned.
the 10 feet off the road. You can kind of see where there's that higher spot between the pine trees along the road, and there's kind of a loop there.
Yep.
The contour, that's where the septic system is, between the pine trees and that.
Okay, so where that curve is. And now I heard something about across the road. Is there gonna be a garage there? Nothing across the road,
It's
nothing?
all wetland.
All wetland, no matter what, nothing's gonna be built
You can
across.
see water today.
All right, no, I just
And that's
concerned.
part of, I can't remember that bog that's out there, there's the name to it.
Yeah, I don't know the name.
So there's no special variance or allowance is gonna be done to put it that
Not for
close to
this
the,
application.
doesn't need to be turned or anything like that?
And they're squaring it up with the property lines.
Okay, all right, I
Could
just,
be 10
just
feet off
wondering
one
how
side,
far
12
back
off
it
the
can
other.
go and make sure that it's within the length and that far off from the border, off from the property lines.
Proposing 10 foot off the right, if you're standing in the road looking at it, they're proposing a 10 foot setback on the right side and 12 on the left.
All right, thank you.
Brandon, would you like to say anything? All set.
I make a motion to close public comment.
I'll second it.
Moved and seconded, to close public comment. Discussion by the board.
Well, there was another gentleman, I know he just left. I don't know if he was planning on speaking to this one or not.
I don't know.
Oh, he left.
Ooh,
Oh.
wow.
If he comes back, we can reconsider reopening.
Thank you.
All right, been moved and seconded. Any further discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor? Unanimous. All right, moving right along. All right. Go down through our application checklist. We have the shoreland zoning application, all made out. Appears to be, includes also an application for site plan review. They're both here. But I think really the shoreland zoning was the one we, the proposed site plan is the.
Question.
Yep.
Is related to the road. Does the road count towards impervious coverage? I don't see it on the calculation.
If it was a town road, it wouldn't. That's a good
Is
question.
it a town road?
I don't think it is,
I
sorry.
don't think so.
Smooth Ledge Road,
It's
It
an
can't
easy-
be a full town road if the town only considers it a full town road if we own it.
right.
And there's no way we own it. Now, the town may have some agreement for winter maintenance. I don't have that list off the top of my head of the towns that we do winter maintenance on, even though we don't own, because we have contracts with dating back decades, but I don't know, it can't be a town road if we don't own the right of way.
Would you have to take I'm gonna get really crazy here. Would you have to take the entire road network and proportion it out to each lot? Or just the portion that went across the lot if it was permanent?
think it would
We've
just
never
be-
included it before.
Okay.
Yeah.
We've never calculated it ever in any of our submissions either.
None that I can remember that we ever included the roadway. Because multiple people have access over those roads.
Yeah, there's certainly
That's an
outside of the
excellent question.
control of,
Unless you're,
I don't think
unless
I
you're,
don't think our ordinance addresses that.
yeah, unless you're the last house on the road, right? Then you could maybe call it a driveway, but. I think you're right, Charlie.
Do you ever
Everybody-
remember
everybody-
looking at it?
Yeah, no.
I haven't been on here forever.
It sounds like a big can of worms if you wanna open it up, but
I was just curious.
No, it's a good question.
I bet a lot of people would tear it up and put grass in it if you give them back that impervious space.
Yeah, they would.
Sorry, you have to go to the mic. I apologize.
You think that's addressed anywhere in there, Scott? I can't remember seeing it.
I mean, I'm not gonna make any rash statements off the top of my head.
Not that you recall, though.
Given, there's no specific addressing of it, one way or the other, I would guess. And because it is not something the applicant has any real control over as a shared right-of-way, would feel bad penalizing the applicant for a road they have no control over. When I was trying to see if I could guess where that put us numbers-wise and if it mattered in this application.
Well, it's entirely beyond the 100-foot mark, if I'm reading this plan right.
Yeah,
It's more to
it's the impervious
20%
surface that would matter.
of the lot.
Yep.
And if it's, I don't know, if it's probably 100 feet of frontage and 20 foot.
It's only, I think it's only 60 feet, it's two 30-foot lots across.
This thing says, like, sorry, here it says basically, see where they.
Yeah, it's only-
85 to water, so that's the septic system.
The
there
two-
in the road, so.
They own two lots in the ancient the 1930 subdivision, and those each lot is only 30 feet wide. So it's only 60 feet across.
Okay.
And
So we have an impervious coverage calculation sheet that we use here, so we're having the lot at 12,632 square feet and some change. So at 20%, it's 2,526.5. So the existing calculations had a 14% coverage on the lot, and the proposed calculations are only at a 16% coverage. Now, we'd have to do the quick math on the road to see what it is, but it may even, in
Yeah, that's what I
virtue
was-
of that, still fall into.
It's gonna be pretty
20%
close
impervious,
anyway.
but-
I would expect it to be underneath the coverage amount. I was just curious, because we have another shoreline application with more, apparently next meeting, if that was something that we consider.
I could say,
As a board,
Yeah.
you know, not really directly
Yeah.
toward this
Be
application.
interesting to see if it's ever been addressed. To my knowledge, we've never deducted it out on the roads.
Yeah, we haven't talked about it in the time I've been here, but I have to go back and look to see which ones are right-of-ways and therefore aren't part of the property to start with, and which ones are easements, and if we've even run into this. But in this case, it's gonna be within a few feet of that 20% at worst. So I think the board could be comfortable with what you're looking at here.
I could say, having done several other homes on that road, that over the last 15 years, we've never had that come up as a topic, so.
I'm just glancing at this lovely little book we have that abstracts from the shoreline zoning.
I mean, we have certainly, in the past, we have largely not included encroachments from the neighbors and things like that. So like the generator pad that in this site that is sticking out a few inches, we aren't penalizing this landowner for that impervious surface. So I would imagine the road would fall into that as well. That it's not something that the applicant has control over. Because we did do one just a few months ago that had the neighbor's driveway encroached on a corner of the property. And I don't believe that we included that in their impervious surface.
I remember that one. Just a little corner of it.
And quick calculations, not that it matters, but maybe to help put everybody to ease on this specific topic, is that the driveway is currently at 505.8 square feet. By code, we're only required to have two 9x18s, which could bring me down to 324. So if needed, we could shrink the driveway to take up any additional if it was a close matter.
Like I said, I don't think the
Yeah,
board's practice
I'm
has been to include it at all, and even if it did, we'd have to go out and get the engineer to tell us an exact number, but we'd be, just my back of the envelope, we'd be pretty close to what you're allowed anyway.
Yeah, I know it wasn't my intention to hold up this application, it was just more of a
It
curiosity.
is a question we probably ought to find out the answer
Especially
to.
We've had precedent on this very road, you know, of similar applications. I'm comfortable moving forward. Just wanted to put that out there. So.
Our company has, in as recent as the last 2 years, the last 5 years, done at least 4 on that road. All lots had bisected the road, so.
Yep.
Quickly, I didn't see anything under shoreline zoning from the state, but this is just an abridged version, so.
And
I would think that would be where it would be, if it was be in the shoreline zoning ordinance. the
Yeah.
Full text.
Yeah.
But I don't recall seeing it.
Yeah, I like I said, I don't believe it's
Did you ever
addressed
see it when you
specifically
were
in
doing
any way.
site Plan reviews?
And it's definitely an easement crossing, because there is no right-of-way in the old subdivision plan. The garage lot that's referenced in the deed is actually a tiny, like, 10 by 10 piece of land close to the main road getting in there to Harmon's Beach Road, where all these lots have a tiny piece of land, because they're not, I think, probably originally were intended to walk to their lots.
Makes sense.
Because the right-of-way only extends in far enough to get to these garage lots, and then it keeps going. Like, then it's all an easement.
Okay. Okay, we have building elevations and plans. Everybody had a chance to look those over. We have 2 versions. We have a miniature set on 8.5 by 11 and an 11 by 17. Somewhere I have 11 by 17. So no difference in the building height.
That's right.
Maintaining what was there.
Correct.
A nice window wall looking at the lake.
Very nice.
Living room and dining room right behind it. And JP reviews all these anyways, right, for code?
Oh, yeah, for building code, fire code.
I mean, basically, we have them because it's a requirement, but he's gonna check the current
Yeah, I mean, we don't even,
IBC code and make sure everything's up to snuff.
technically, we don't even need the interior floor plan. We just need the elevations to know that the height is within what's
He's the one
allowed.
that needs the full set of plans
Right.
to make sure that it's a code. That's a full-time job. So we have those. We have a copy of the deed. We have Lakeside's narrative of the project. We have a septic design. Sebago Technics, Mr. Fullerton. We don't have sheet 1 of 3, but I think that's just names and addresses. You must have that copy. Just didn't make it in our sets. We have 2 and 3 of 3. We have the generic. Instructions, and we get the subsurface water disposal system variance because it's a replacement system. If you don't have it, maybe they could furnish you with sheet 1 of 3.
Yeah, I mean, they'll need that for the building permit, the full thing.
I remember right, it's
I'm guessing it was an oversight, but we've got enough to see that what we need for site plan, where it's gonna fit on the lot and all of
It's just
that.
the who's who,
Yeah,
name, rank, serial number. We have that. And we have an agent authorization, which allows Lakeside to be here. So that being said, if the board's comfortable, we need a motion to find the application for reconstruction of a legally non-conforming house at 63 Smooth Ledge Road to be complete.
I make the motion as presented.
Second.
Been moved and seconded to find the application complete. Further discussion by the board? Seeing none, all those in favor? Very good.
Before we start looking at the approval motion, I just had one clarifying question. The 32 feet off the water, is that the building face or the deck?
The deck face. So,
Okay.
yes, the deck protrudes 8 feet in front of the
As
proposed
the-
structure.
Yeah.
So the structure itself, the face of the structure itself is proposed at 40 feet back.
Because the proposed said closest point of deck is 25 feet is what you put on the plan. So I just want to make sure we're getting the right number here.
That's incredible. I'm not, on which sheet was that?
The proposed plot plan details.
That was in
This
the-
one.
Well, let me take a look. I just had that one.
That would be at that southeast corner.
Yeah, because
Northeast corner is further back.
they're squaring it up to the property lines, but the water doesn't go right angles across, so.
Yeah.
Yes, I'm sorry, you're correct, because the deck then protrudes 10 feet past the south side of the structure, it does come into.
Oh, yeah.
So my mistake, I was taking the math off the 40 feet from, and adding the 8 feet to get that. But yes, because of the angle of the structure to set with the side property lines, it does come down to 25 feet.
All right, then the motion as written is correct. I just wanted to make sure if it was 32 feet, we corrected .4 that said the practical extent, the new setback, so.
And we're all set with it. I'm just kind of going through this. Note 3 that the CEO will approve a replanting plan for significant trees removed, if any, as part of this project prior to the issuance of a building permit.
Yeah, I think we can definitely say there's at least the one that's in the building footprint is gonna have to be taken
Correct.
down, so there's at least that one.
Yeah, and maybe the dead ones, the dead,
Yeah.
dying and diseased
Right.
ones, we don't,
We're pretty sure those.
I wouldn't want them left standing there, but
Yeah.
that would be just me. So this pushes everything back beyond 25 feet.
Well, add 25 and then beyond, just in that corner.
That very corner of the deck, yes, ma'am.
Yeah. So 30-ish up the other one, the northeast corner. Potentially. No, probably not that much, probably 28. Hard to tell.
I mean, we've got a closest point, and that's what we need.
Yeah. All right. So we've determined the application complete. And you want to go through each of these planning board actions? I think we've discussed them all. We talked about the deck and the 25 feet. I had that mentioned here. We talked about the reason for the building not going back any further because of the septic system and the separation between the septic system and the back of the building required, and the fact that the opposite side of the road, the soils are no good. If everybody's comfortable with it, I will read the recommended motion from staff. Move that the board grant approval under the provisions of the Standish Land Use Code for the application submitted by Lakeside Construction on behalf of Donna and Jay Foss for the replacement of the legally non-conforming house at 63 Smooth Ledge Road in Standish, having found the application to meet the requirements of subsection 237-12, subsection 237-15, subsection 237-16, and all other applicable sections of the Standish Code of ordinances with the following conditions. 1, all work done in conformance with materials and plans submitted by Lakeside Construction, which consists of site plan, building elevations, and supporting application material. 2, this approval shall lapse and become void in 1 year as laid out in subsection 237-16F. The code enforcement officer will approve a replanting plan for significant trees removed, if any, as part of this project prior to the issuance of a building permit. Per standards found in subsection 23712C1B, the planning board approval of this site plan is limited to structure setbacks to the maximum practical extent. The new structure will be set back from apparent nominal high water line by approximately 25 feet, and this represents a practical relocation as allowed under the ordinance. 5, this approval is dependent upon and limited to the proposals and plans contained in the application and supporting documents submitted and affirmed by the applicant or the applicant's agents, either orally or in writing, and that any variation from the plans, proposals, and supporting documents are subject to review and approval by the planning board, except for minor changes which the code enforcement officer may approve.
Make the motion as presented.
I'll second it.
Been moved and seconded. To grant approval, discussion by the board. Seeing none, all those in favor? Unanimous. Very good. I'm just getting all this stuff together.
Might as well stand there, Joe, you're not going to.
All right. Next item. Chris Matino, 29 Watchet Crossroad, map 20, lot 50.
It's,
Shoreland zoning application to remove buildings and add addition to expand a residence.
it's 26.
26, I believe.
26.
Yeah, on the agenda, it has it as 29, but,
Yeah,
which is also confusing.
we'll make that 26.
Here it's 26 everywhere.
All of my documentation does have it at 26, so.
Okay, good.
Yeah, I think that was just a typo in that one spot. We went around on that earlier today. All right. It's all yours. And we did have a site walk out here earlier today.
Stop that. Well, go ahead. Technical difficulties on the imagery.
I'm Joe Williams with Lakeside Construction, here on behalf of the Martino family. The application today is to remove outbuildings that are on the structure within the 100-foot setback and add additional structure to the existing home in order to expand livable space. We're removing a total of 341 square feet, and we're expanding the existing footprint by 328 feet. It'll be a 2-story expansion not to exceed the existing height of the current structure.
Like to add anything, Scott, at this point?
I think it's pretty straightforward. As a addition, where the building's located isn't changing, and there's no obligation to change since they are keeping the existing structure. This is all going to the rear of the building, away from the water, and is well within the allowances per the ordinance for an expansion. It's well within the 30% of the 1989 footprints that are permitted. So I think we're in good shape.
Okay. So for people in the audience, this is strictly an addition to the back of the building towards the road. Nothing to the front. The front of the camp stays where it is, facing Watchet Lake. 2 sheds, one very classic one, right next to the existing building. make a lovely, maybe a barn building, maybe, I don't know about that even. And that's coming down, and then there's a small utility shed up near the approximate location of the septic field and the driveway. There's a fair amount of drop-off from the road down to where the building's going, just as a highlight of what the site's like. Set of stairs running from the driveway down to where the new addition will be on the back of the building. And the applicant pointed out that, is that just a pump station, or is that the septic tank down there that'll have to be moved as well?
That is a tank and, well,
Maybe.
to be determined. I've been told that it's a macerator pump and pump system, which then pumps into a tank above. I rarely see those, so I don't know. Regardless, it will be moved outside of the footprint, and depending on the condition of it, either replaced or reused.
Yeah, there's nothing in the plumbing permit that would indicate that, so that could be.
Right, because we don't have an idea yet as to what we're gonna do.
Yeah. And we do have a 2002 plumbing permit application, when it must have been upgraded at that point in history. And that was done by Norman Bud Harris. Yeah, well, that's showing a 4-inch Schedule 40 PVC pipe from the building into a 1,000-gallon concrete septic tank.
Which would
If-
make
If
sense.
feasible. All right. Board members, any questions, thoughts? We were at the site earlier today.
I don't,
No?
Carolyn?
Well, we had talked about removal of both sheds, but one shed is still on this is the page that it's on?
Yes, and my error,
Yeah,
I
just to
believe.
make it all match.
The one, yes, and we can resubmit that with that shed above removed. I think as Mr. Hastings pointed out, irregardless if it
Right.
was or not, we still have the expandable footprint. But the plan is to move that shed.
Well, and that's what it says in other places, so just. be
Yes,
nice
correct.
to-
I think while I was talking about the footprints of the expansion of the structure footprint, in terms of impervious surface, it should be removed to make sure that we're staying within the existing conditions.
Yes, correct.
We should make that a condition of approval. That the plans reflect that that building is.
Yeah, we get an updated site plan with that shed removed.
We can absolutely do that. I apologize.
Conditions of approval, where are you? Right here. So that would be number 6. The applicant to provide staff with an updated site plan showing both sheds removed. You just say any more than that, Scott? That's good enough?
That does it?
All right, very good, with that. And the new addition will have a crawl space foundation underneath it, or full foundation, or
Just a crawl space foundation for utilities.
existing houses on pylons or piers?
It appears to be on concrete piers.
Well, let's just go down through the list, make sure we got everything. We have a shoreline zoning application? We do. We have a proposed site plan, which are prepared by Lakeside and submitted. We have the proposed building elevations, again in Both formats, 8.5 by 11 and 11 by 17. We have a deed for the property. I think, I saw one here.
Do we have a, I guess I don't know if we need it, but a map of the site, the entire
What we
lot?
have is we have both an existing condition and a proposed site plan by the contractor. We do not have one from we do not have a survey plat.
Oh, okay, okay. We don't need that?
I mean, we require a site plan, and we need this information before and after. We don't require that it be a surveyed, like a stamped plan.
Be a hand-drawn plan too? Yeah.
As long as the board feels it is sufficient to make the decisions they need to make,
Gotcha.
is sort of where we lay, to make sure that it is accurate enough for you to do what you need to do to make these decisions, to feel that it meets the ordinance.
Which, I mean, the description, just lot 9 is shown on plan of Wajik Terrace by H.I. and E.C. Jordan. Dated May 1925, recorded in Plan Book 16, page 38. Subject to flowage rights as they now exist. There's quite a distance though from where this building's going down to the water elevation. There is a study that was done for the mean high water of Watchet Lake. And I think you're above those elevations, but the code enforcement officer will have those elevations for
He
you.
will, yeah, because of the severity of the grade from the yard down to the water,
Must be 8 feet or better.
at least, yes.
We have the applicant's narrative as to what they're proposing. It was on the cover by Lakeside. We have the 2002 septic system design. Nothing's changed from that, nor is it proposed.
No, sir.
And we have an agent authorization which allows the contractor to represent them. So I think we have all of the items required, from my knowledge. So, I'll make this motion.
One question.
Go ahead.
I don't see the elevations. I read the elevations, but I don't like see them on this. Am I missing that?
Those are the
I mean,
elevations.
grade elevations, or those are pictorial elevations of the building?
Yeah,
You're
but-
talking about grades?
No, I'm talking about like the 20.6 or 20,
Oh, are you looking for heights?
yeah, do we have
Where
to
it
have that
doesn't-
on there?
Well, on that plan where it's not exceeding the height of the existing structure, we didn't bother to put the heights on there. However, we do have 2 scale plans that can be determined that way. They're 1/4-inch scale plans, so
Okay.
it can be determined whether it's depicted on the plan or not.
That doesn't work with my scale on these shrunken ones.
It's tough on that one, that's right. I got one here you can have, though. You can measure it up. Typically, where we're not exceeding an existing structure that won't be removed, it's not as pertinent to the
Okay.
height restrictions because of
I,
the
yeah, I
fact
do
that,
see the scale, but,
yes.
thank
So
you.
we've got 7'6" on the second floor, plus we've got 2 feet, that's 9'6", and 7'6" is 17 feet, plus what's the flooring? Foot? These are lamb beams or something? What are these? Can't read it.
To match the structure, I
Roughly
believe
2
we were
feet down.
using 8-inch lambs on the second floor in order to match.
Got to add everything up, but it is there.
Given that half that, what you're seeing on there is the existing building, and it's showing it matching that height, that's what they're allowed to do, is up to the height of the existing
So
building.
the dimensions, Carolyn, are on sheet 2 of 4, and it's the building cross-section.
This one?
You can add those distances up. I mean,
Yeah, okay.
15 plus 2 feet to the peak is 17, plus about 2 or 3 feet down to grade, so that matches up with the 21 feet that we were
1.6.
talking about, 22 feet.
think we had it at 20.5.
20.6?
0.5, yeah. Just got to search for them.
Yeah.
Hidden in the cross-section. As long as they don't exceed the existing height of the existing building, everything's copacetic.
Yep.
And you'll have to maintain 10 feet from the crawl space foundation to the septic tank?
Correct, yes. Actually, wasn't that reduced to 8?
Yeah, I guess it was,
It
back
was
a few
reduced
years
to
ago,
8.
it's 8.
So you can use a
It
10,
used to be 10, yeah.
yeah, now it's easier
I'll
to
add-
use a
put that
10-foot piece
2-foot
of pipe.
section on there.
That's right.
We'll leave that to JP to determine scale. I move to find the application for reconstruction of legally non-conforming house at 26 Watchet Crossing Road to be complete. Is there a second on that?
Yeah, I will.
Others seconded that. Discussion by the board. Seeing none, all those in favor? Very good. Based on the grades of the, I had a couple of questions here on the shoreline review criteria, and I think we've touched bases on both of them. We'll need an erosion control plan for the CEO, because they're gonna have excavation within 100 feet. Do we need to make that a condition of approval, or is it in there?
It's in there.
Number 4.
B. There are no, the visual assessment from the water, we're not even gonna see this. Maybe during construction, you'll see somebody stand up. But other than that,
See the guys up front at lunch.
maybe that, probably.
They're wearing hard hats that are yellow or orange, yes.
And the floodplain, you don't have to worry about that, I don't believe. You want to just run that by JP, but I know that stuff's all been, we were on the other side of the lake when there was an issue over there with a permit.
Yeah, I mean, we were,
They had taken the flood,
just being there today, there's pretty good grade coming off the lake.
somebody had just taken the FEMA flood plan, abstracted the line off there, and it went right through the building, and it was like 8 feet from that face of the building down to the water, so we knew that wasn't right, so. Those numbers were run, somebody ran those back, and it's on the,
Yeah, they've got the new maps out now, so it's a
Should
lot
be good.
easier now.
okay,
Excuse me, Charlie,
yes,
do we need to open this up to the public?
yeah, we do now, before we vote on it,
Okay.
yes.
Okay.
I was just going through my comments.
Remember the timing of it.
Yep, no, it's good. Is the board ready to open it up to the public?
Yes.
Okay. Anyone from the public like to speak? Tony's gonna keep us straight, honest. It's good.
I want you to explain something to me. What is the difference between a conforming lot and a non-conforming lot?
Conforming lot would match the lot requirements as they are today in the ordinance. A non-conforming lot would be a lot that was created prior to the current ordinance and would be grandfathered.
So they're grandfathered, that they can be changed? Because I hear all these places being built now on non-conforming lots, and it just confuses me. When we went and did the site walk the other day on 114, I saw a $700,000 house that's on a non-conforming lot, so I just don't
The
understand.
lot existed prior to the current ordinance, which requires 80,000 square feet, I think, in that zone out there, 2 acres,
It's probably 3.
3 acres, so 120,000 square feet lots.
So-
There are a lot of lots in town that are less than the current ordinance.
So if it's, was originally built before the time, then it's considered?
84, is that the magic number? 1984?
I mean, for It depends on what you're talking about.
Depending on when the ordinance was drawn up.
If it was in conformance when it was made,
Yeah.
but it is no longer in conforming, then it's legally non-conforming.
So I just, because I keep hearing that it's non-conforming, and then,
Right.
Well, we can
Non-conforming
build-
to the current conditions, the current rules and regulations.
I hear, well, we've done this before. So I'm just kind of confused on the whole thing. Whether it's conforming or non-conforming, whether we're doing special allowances on all these places, and because we've done it before, that just sets a precedence for someone else to do it again. So, and I hear,
We're doing everything by the book.
okay.
They still, even if it's a non-conforming lot, they have to meet the minimum setback
Yes, I get that.
specified.
Yep, I get that.
And the
I
height
understand-
restrictions.
I can understand everything good on this lot, but on other things that I've seen coming before us, it's non-conformant this, or,
Well, that, I believe the one you're talking about on 114 never came to the board. If you're talking about the one on the old access road.
just wondering why things are getting done when I hear non-conformant, and then all of a sudden places are being built. And then someone says, well, we did it for someone else, so why aren't we doing it this time? So that's my question. Thank you.
Thank you. Brandon, anybody else like to speak?
I might have missed it, so. I know it's a condition of approval for the sheds to be taken away for the impervious
area.
service, thank you. Who makes sure those are taken down? Are those taken down before or after construction, or when are those gone, and who makes sure they're gonna be?
Well, one of them has to come out before construction because the new building is going there. And I would think that the code enforcement officer would inspect that prior to issuing an occupancy permit. I would hope he would.
Me too. Awesome, thank you.
I don't think I spoke out of term.
Oh, that sounds right.
That seem right?
Both sheds are not one that you would want to keep, I don't think anyways.
I kind of like that one down by the building. No, I
It-
don't want
Charlie
it.
is a little attached to the one
I
with
know.
metal and.
It looked like something out of a
Very
movie
classy.
set. Like, you couldn't recreate that if you wanted to.
No, I don't think you could.
Oh.
It has many, many,
It's the oldest shed I've ever seen.
It's a Texas Chainsaw Massacre.
Yeah.
Gotta get Andrew out more, because I've seen older sheds.
yeah. All right. Is there a motion to close the public hearing?
I make a motion to close public comment.
And I'll second it.
Been moved and seconded to close the public hearing. Anything from the board? Thoughts? Discussions? Seeing none? All those in favor? Unanimous. Very good. Did you want to add something, Joe?
Nope, just here in case you have any more questions.
All right, good. So we've discussed adding a sixth condition. I'll just read through this real quickly. This is recommended approval by staff. Move that the board grant approval under the provisions of the Standish Land Use Code for the application submitted by Lakeside Construction on behalf of Chris Martino for the replacement of a legally non-conforming house at 26 Watchet Crossroad in Standish, having found the application to meet the requirements of subsection 237-12, subsection 237-15, subsection 237-16, and all other applicable sections of the Standish Code of Ordinances with the following conditions. 1, all work shall be in conformance with the materials and plans submitted by Lakeside Construction, which consists of site plan, building elevations, and supporting application materials. 2, the approval shall lapse and become void in 1 year as laid out in subsection 237-16F. The code enforcement officer will approve a replanting plan for significant trees removed, if any, as part of this project prior to the issuance of a building permit. The code enforcement officer will approve an erosion sediment control plan prior to the issuance of any permits. 5, the approval is dependent upon limited to the proposal and plans contained in the application and supporting documents submitted and affirmed by the applicant or applicant's agent, either orally or in writing, and that any variation from the plan approvals and supporting documents are subject to review and approval by the planning board, except for minor changes which the code enforcement officer may approve. And 6, the applicant is to provide the staff with a updated site plan showing both sheds removed.
Make a motion as presented.
Is there a second?
I'll second it.
Seconded by Carolyn. Further discussion by the board?
None?
Seeing none, all those in favor? Unanimous.
Thank you.
Sorry, Joe, you missed the Little League.
Motion to adjourn.
A motion to adjourn, is there a second?
Second.
Moved and seconded to adjourn. Discussion by the board?
None?
Seeing none, all those in favor? Very good, thank you all. We'll see you after.